Hello everyone, here we go with our first base fantasy profiles projections using Steamer. Something to say about first base is it is synonymous with power. You need to get your power from first base. If you have two of these guys, you put one. If somebody like Miguel Cabrera has a different position, you could put him at first or third and put the other guy at first. If you get two of these guys, you can put one at utility, which gives you a huge boost in power. First base is synonymous with power, so you need to get it from your first baseman. Our number, here we go into the profiles. Our number one guy is Miguel Cabrera. He's also the number one guy in third base. He's not the number one player anymore, and he wore down last year and got injured. Still 300 average with 100 runs, 25 home runs, and 100 RBIs is a down year for just him. Really, he did have a under 900 OPS, which is probably for the first time since his rookie year. But there's not many guys you can say that about, that they had a down year with 125, 100. So he is still a very good player. The next guy is probably one of my favorite players to own. His name is Paul Goldschmidt. They call him Goldie. The reason he is so good is because he can hit 300 with the 30 bombs, but he'll get you 10 stolen bases, which you can't really say for anybody else on the top of this list. They're not going to run. You want your power from here, but if you can get 10, if you can squeeze 10 stolen bases out of your position at first, you might win that category easily, especially if you get another second baseman with steals or an outfielder with steals. The next guy is Jose Abreu, and he had a great rookie year in the U.S. and will look to repeat. So much about him is if you really believe in him repeating. Who knows about a sophomore slump, as they say. He does play in Chicago's South Side, and that is a launching pad, so that's good for him. The next guy is Anthony Rizzo, and much of his breakout year has to do with him hitting lefties. So again, if you believe in him that he can hit lefties again and doesn't regress to where he's been at in his past, you take him here because he is going to hit 30 home runs. If he can hit lefties, if he can't, you're looking at another, early on Anthony Rizzo year. He is young though, so maybe he has turned it around and he understands. The next two guys are actually on the same team. It's Joey Bats, Jose Bautista, and Edwin Encarnacion, and almost the same thing can be said for both of them. Bautista is aging like a fine wine. He's 35. Does he still have another year, or does he go back to being injured Bautista and regress? If he is healthy, you can pretty much count on 30-plus home runs. The guy can hit. And the same can be said for Encarnacion. If we can ever get a full year of Encarnacion, we might be seeing almost 50 home runs. You never know with this guy. This guy just goes on tears. I think 1 month last year he had 16 home runs. So he pretty much single-handedly won that month for most players. That is our first tier. As you can see, I've color-coded them, so those are tiers. Something interesting about those tiers is everyone in the green tier is projected for 30 home runs. So, like I said, it's synonymous with power, and you want to get your power here. Our next guy is Freddie Freeman, Steady Freddie. He's on a terrible team now. They lost Upton. Who's going to get on for this guy? Hopefully that means you can get him at a value. I'm not a big fan this year. The next guy is Buster Posey. Buster Posey is ranked high because he's a catcher, not because he can really hit. He can hit relative to him being a catcher. At first base, his numbers look really mediocre at this right now. 75 RBIs. Like, who's gonna want that from a first baseman and his and 19 home runs? You kind of don't want that. That's almost Todd Frazier. Yeah, Todd Frazier's gonna hit more bombs than him. and he's more relative to a catcher. So if you're drafting Buster Posey to put at first base, you're an idiot. So there we go. Adrian Gonzalez. Adrian Gonzalez had a very nice year last year. He plays in a good team. People get on. He hits RBIs. He has a good average. He hits pretty good home runs, but he's not elite, and you should be drafting him as so. He's drafted in around the 50s, and he's almost identical to the next guy, Albert Pujols, another aging star. He's been wearing down. He actually had an OPS under 800, but the power and RBIs are there, and that's what you want from this. Another guy this guy, if Edwin Encarnacion and if Jose Bautista is aging like a fine wine, this guy's like a 100-year-old wine because he's 40 and he can still hit. That's David Ortiz, Big Poppy. He just mashes. There's nothing you can say. One of these years he's gonna be bad, and everyone's gonna say, "Oh, he's finally hit it." But for the past couple years, everyone's been saying that, and he just proves them wrong and hits bombs, and he always comes out of value. And I think this is one of the first years he actually didn't. He actually isn't coming out of value, but you can still do pretty good by getting David Ortiz for your first base slot. You can also use him as your utility. Our next guy is Todd Frazier. Todd Frazier is projected to regress for Steamer, but he is a third base eligible player, and much like Buster Posey, getting him at third base is a lot better than putting him at first base, mainly because third base, you want those home runs, and there isn't many people who are going to hit 20 bombs at third base. So there you go. Next guy is a bounce back candidate. Steamer is projecting him to do very well, so if you're drafting now, you want this guy. That's Prince Fielder. He says he's healthy, and he is in Arlington with Adrian Beltre, so that's a plus. Hopefully Elvis Andrus turns it around and he can score some runs and lead to some RBIs for Fielder. So that's good. Hopefully he stays healthy. Best of luck to him. The next three guys are wild cards, I would say. Well, more like Matt Adams and Bell are kind of wild cards. Eric Hosmer, he is actually a pretty decent first baseman, and that's mainly because he hits power. He has power and he can steal bases, much like Brandon Belt, but he just has a higher average. Brandon Belt has tremendous power, but he goes on slumps, and he has a hard time with lefties and sliders. Oh, that's wrong. He isn't going to hit 368. He's going to hit 268. Matt Adams was a guy who was supposed to be huge last year, but he ended up going a little bit too much contact and not enough home runs, and he was hitting like 330 with like 2 home runs for a while. He needs to hit home runs if he wants to be a viable candidate for people's first base slot. If he doesn't hit home runs, you might as well drop him or utility him if he's doing pretty good. But you want home runs from here. Oh, I forgot to add this guy. Lucas Duda. I don't have the Steamer projection really. But Lucas Duda last year against right-hand hitters hit 273 with a 915 OPS, 28 home runs, 80 RBIs against righties. So that I made a video earlier about how to be competitive, and that's exactly how you're competitive. By knowing Lucas Duda is good against right-handers, and you just play him against right-handers, and you get those stats. That's like almost elite. I mean, he can have more RBIs, but 80 RBIs, 28 home runs against right-handers with the 915 OPS, that's money. Against left-handers, he hit under 200, which drove his average down. But if you just play him against right-handers, you have a huge. You pretty much have a good player, good, almost great player. And that does it for our first base profiles, fantasy profiles. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, guys. Much love. This is my 3rd video of today. I'll be doing the 4th right now, and I'll be posting all this shit up. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully this helps you guys win, and we are almost done with the profiles and I can get to doing other stuff. Thank you very much. Have a good day.